After seeing this movie, I can't imagine having to see anyone live with Alzheimer's. What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, bringing you my review for Still Alice, which stars Julianne Moore, Alec Baldwin, Kristen Stewart, Kate Bosworth, and Hunter Parrish, and is directed by Richard Glatzer and Wash Westmoreland. Now, the plot, which is based off of the novel the same name and is written by Lisa Genova, follows Dr. Alice Howland, played by Julianne Moore, a renowned professor of linguistics who has a loving husband, portrayed by Alec Baldwin, and 3 grown children. But all of this changes as she is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease, and now she has to deal with her fading memory and how this disease will affect her family. Now, since my last review was a matter of me playing catch-up to the Oscars still, which have happened now 2 weeks ago, this review is also another catch-up review, considering that this is a movie that is now an Oscar winner for Julianne Moore's performance, of course. And this movie also barely opened up in wide release in a location near me. And I've also been interested in seeing this movie not just for Moore's performance, but also for this being a character study on what it's like to live with such a debilitating disease. How was it? Let's run down the whole thing. Let's get this out of the way. How was Julianne Moore? Incredible. Her performance is momentous here. She totally deserved that Oscar. I predicted she was going to win in my Oscars video, but now I can safely say that she totally deserved this. Her portrayal of a once successful professor who has now been a subject to just mental deterioration and just a horrible illness is just so gripping to watch. I can't imagine anyone living with this in real life, like I mentioned in the intro, but this is not only a horrifying portrayal of the disease, and yes, it's horrifying because it is just hard to watch at times, but it's also a very enlightening one that so many people nowadays actually suffer from this disease, not just in the US, but worldwide as well. And this is all a credit to Julianne Moore. I love her as an actress. This is now her 5th nomination and her 1st win. The rest of the supporting cast here are just as excellent. I feel that Alec Baldwin's performance as a very supporting husband should be very, very much appreciated in light with Moore's performance, as this is a realistic portrayal of what a loving spouse should do whenever the other spouse is going through something very life-changing and very affecting towards the body. And this is also credit to Baldwin. I also really like him as an actor too. I also really enjoy the portrayal of the 3 adult children that Moore and Baldwin have. Kate Bosworth and Hunter Parrish do very good jobs too. But the one child of honorable mention that should be brought up, in my opinion, is Kristen Stewart. She plays the youngest daughter, and I think this is the best role she has ever given today, and is such a fresh departure from that other franchise. And I also think that I liked her performance so much because I was connected with her. She plays an up-and-coming actress, and she's also very close-minded in her career choices and goals that she has for herself, as noted when she is talking to Moore in various sequences in the movie. And sometimes I feel like that myself. I think it's also another realistic portrayal of what a child should do, no matter how old, when a loved one is affected with an illness again. I just think that these are realistic performances here. These are just very outstanding roles that these actors have given themselves, especially with Moore, and are one reason this movie is very much worth seeing. The story here is very intriguing. I was fascinated by Moore's performance once again, and by how family life is portrayed with someone catching a disease like this. This does take a heavy toll on someone's mental health rather than physically. And this is also very much connected towards how the directors portray this movie in a very realistic light. One of the co-directors, Wash Westmoreland, is suffering from ALS himself. And I think this very much parallels his own life from what I've looked up, and is also linked to another movie with an Oscar-winning portrayal for its lead performance this year, The Theory of Everything, which I absolutely loved and totally thought that Eddie Redmayne was phenomenal in his portrayal as Stephen Hawking. But that goes into why the best kind of film roles or performances from actors are ones that are linked to real life or just very realistic portrayals in general. I mean, we as human beings are just very much attached to seeing the possibility of a loved one catching a disease that no one wants to get, or seeing death, really. This is very much at the core of the movie itself, in that there is still hope, but also there's also not hope in some light to what a person may have in their very young or very old life. And I also very much connected this movie, other than with Kristen Stewart's character, with how illness is portrayed. I am personally impaired hearing-wise. I am partially deaf on my left ear and have to use a bone-anchored hearing aid, and I just thought that this very much spoke to me, really. I actually have a video that my friend made about my illness, and I'll have a link for it in the description if you want to find out more. As for problems I do have with this movie, there is one major one, but you can consider it offset for what the rest of the movie is about, but I think it's its pacing. It is a very slow burn at times to see Moore have to suffer through this disease and see her family get affected. But I think that was necessary because you can't rush this movie for how small it is in scale but big it is on message, as it runs at about an hour and 40 minutes, which is a suitable running time, but I will not say much else with that. But that the movie does feel like it drags on and on and on, but once it does get to the bigger moments, I was very much affected once again. This is a very, very sad movie, very depressing, but I just think that it is a must-watch. My final thoughts on this movie are that Julianne Moore's Oscar-winning performance now is the very best reason why you should see Still Alice. And the rest of the supporting performances are also outstanding in tandem with Moore. The story is very much enlightening on a disease that everyone should be more and more aware of now that it is portrayed very well. And I think the message of having hope, even though there is little hope for someone who may have a disease, is also very touching, heart-wrenching, heart-tugging, whatever, just emotional, that everyone can get into and cry their eyes out, possibly. I personally didn't cry, but I was on the brink of crying. I very much definitely recommend this movie. My final verdict for Still Alice is 4 out of 5 stars. One final note before I end this video. I will not have a new video up next week because I will be extremely busy throughout this upcoming week, as I am a part of a school production of the musical Footloose. Yes, based off of the movie. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Still Alice, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.